Hey, Sanford here, EMPC, coach, mentor, and speaker. How's everyone doing today? Now, today's topic is breaking down the fear and stigma around touching and coaching for our young athletes. Now, there's such a fear and stigma around this that a lot of coaches cannot be their absolute best because they're either stuck in what they can't do, they're either fearing what people will think of them, or they have no idea what's really going on inside of them that's stopping them from being their absolute best. Okay, so coming from where I come from and working with my athletes and working with other coaches, I'm all about the EMPC process, which basically talks about energy, intuitive, using your intuitive information that's already built inside of you. Of course we do research, of course we use logic, but you always hear in business, you never see a great business person or someone in business that doesn't use the phrase, I was following a gut feeling, okay? That is their intuition, that is their God-given gift. Okay, I always love the expression that if our prayers are us talking to God, then our intuition is God talking to us. Okay, so I really believe that intuition is very powerful, and I think our youth today have lost that. So I want to talk about that along with our topic of today, which is breaking down the fear and stigma of touching athletes. Okay, so about 2 years ago, I did a Pilates course. I'm a qualified Pilates instructor, and the coach and the creator of this Pilates program had great energy. She had great information, and it was a very powerful session for about 3 days. So we did it over 3 days. Then she said the one thing that I really disagreed with, that really struck a chord with me, and she said, when you are training students and coaches, do not touch them. Now the reason was clear, which was to recognize and avoid the growing problem of sexual abuse and harassment implications and complications. So I get it. This of course goes against my natural instincts of love, support, nurturing, and building a culture of safety, trust, and positive reinforcement. Okay, so just so we're clear, I have my own positive and healing views on the power of touch in sport. But I also did my research, so I wanted to get another couple of people and information background to be able to apply to what I'm talking about today, so you know that it's not just me, but a lot of people in the sporting world or in the psychology world understand the importance of touching. So I will be giving some facts and figures from a paper published in Red Fame Publishing. The publishing the company that published it was the International Journal of Social Science, and the paper's title was The Importance of Touch in Sport. Studies show that athletes and coaches in the study viewed touch as being important and even necessary to the sporting environment. There is a rich history of the importance of touch for healthy growth, development, according to the research, showing. There was a study done with orphans during World War II, okay? And even though the orphans had adequate nutrition and hygiene, they were morose, depressed, and even suicidal. And in some cases, they died from lack of positive touch. Even the experts recognize the emerging problem of sexual abuse and harassment of young athletes by their coaches, and they associate this, of course, with them breaking their trust. And again, let me remind you that there's only a small percentage of people doing this, okay? And of course, the media and fear that the media brings, and fear perhaps from other parents and perhaps other top people, make it seem like it's bigger than it really is. So understand this. It's like you see someone on the back of a milk carton or at the post office. They say these kids are missing, and somebody says, well, kids are missing everywhere. And someone says, well, people are stealing everybody's kids. And I say, well, they're stealing everybody's kids. How come we're here? Okay, so it's not huge. I'm not saying it's not important, because it is. We don't want to lose our children. We don't want people stealing our children. Just like we don't want people sexually abusing or harassing our kids. Okay, so I just want to make that on a side note. Okay, so yet again, other studies found that positive touch optimizes health and development. As I was researching this, I got quite sad and finding out that a lot of our kids have to be taught how to feel. Okay, and of course, coming from the acting background and the theater, feeling was just something we did, and we had to present on stage in order to be believable, and then actually in order to connect with our character. But a lot of kids have to take classes. They have to be shown today how to feel, how to touch, how to see truly with their eyes and their heart. So this is quite disturbing to me. Okay, and it's even more so in adults who are struggling even more. They actually have programs where adults can go to a massage class to understand how to touch their partner. Okay, how to massage perhaps their children if they're injured or need help. Okay, there's also classes in pet therapy. So for adults and even for kids who are uncomfortable touching and feeling, they start them with pets. Okay, and pets, of course, are unconditional in their love. They just want to be loved and petted and showed how much you care for them, all right? And then, of course, there's even hugging therapies. Now, of course, as positive as that is, it still saddens me that we have to be taught how to feel, okay? And, of course, that of course, is a tough thing. I feel anyway, because our society is so consumer-driven. It's so thing-orientated. Okay, so we have to be logical. We have to shut down the emotions. Just be logical and very clinical about everything, and don't get too close to people because they may hurt you, or you may break your trust, or whatever we think is the society. But our emotions are natural within us. Our emotions are natural within us. And I don't care what you do, you're driven by your emotions, even if you don't say it. When you shop, you're driven by your emotions. When you watch a television show, when you watch a movie, when you hang out with your family, when someone tells you you've done something wrong, or even when you have to criticize someone or someone criticizes you, their emotions kick in. Okay? It's what you do with that. It's how you regulate that. It's how you share that. As a child, we know intuitively that those who care for us can reduce our pain, make us feel safe and powerful with touch. As children, a touch could decrease depression, anxiety, and of course build empathy and even enhance our immune systems. Okay, and we know this as children. Okay, it's innate, it's intuitive within us. In our risk-averse society, managing and avoiding risk to provide a psychological sense of comfort is destroying our youth's sense of resilience, toughness, lowering the pain threshold, and shutting down their natural intuition states. Okay, and so when their natural intuition is shut down, then they cannot sense danger if danger is there. Okay, but at the same time, they can't connect, they can't grow, and they can't heal if their intuition is shut down. Okay, so I just want to be able to really get this across to you guys, how important your intuition is and how important touch really is. Okay, the purpose of this talk is to talk about the fear and the stigma around touch. It's also to remind coaches to follow and rediscover their natural intuition to coach at their absolute best by being themselves, okay? And of course, this is going to bring out the trust in them that they have in their athletes and that their athletes have in them, okay? So being yourself, and I think a lot of people have forgotten how to do that. And I'm a huge believer in that the hardest person to be is yourself, okay? Because there's so many images on TV and on the net that tells us that we're not good enough, okay? Or that we have to have the latest car, or that we don't have this person's life, or that we need to be super successful right now. Not that we got to work at it, but that person has it, so I should have it too. Okay, there's a lot of images breaking down who the you is, who the you are. Who are you? Okay, you are extraordinary. Okay, let's just keep that in mind. So I just want to share with you ways that coaches already touch athletes and the importance of that. Okay, so I'll break this down for you. Manipulation. Okay, basically what that means is that coaches manipulate the body. If an athlete is doing a handstand, their head sticking out, their bum sticking out, okay, the coach has to say, pull your tummy in. So they touch their tummy, they push their head down, they pull their legs up, and they say, squeeze your bum tight. So it's that touching that helps to manipulate the body into a position. Also, athletes hug the coaches. Okay, the athletes just hug if they get happy, if they achieve a goal, or they get a skill, or they're just happy that day, or they're really connected to that coach, they may hug them. Okay, hugs. Okay, we do group hugs as coaches. We do a team hug. Okay, athletes may hug a coach may hug an athlete. Okay, high fives is another way that athletes and coaches touch. Okay, a pat on the shoulder or the back. Okay, a pat on the head or the arm. Okay, if you play football, or you even see it in professional baseball, sometimes the athlete does something good and the coach just slaps him on the butt as a say, hey, you did a great job. I'm not saying go around slapping your male or your female athletes on the bum, or even your male. I'm just saying that's what they do. You see it all the time, and there's no extra thing put onto that. Okay, they're not trying to make anything out of that. Okay, handshaking. I always shake all my male athletes' hands when they come in. I shake some of the girls' hands. I give them high fives. Okay, and the other thing I do is I look at my athletes in the eye and I talk with them. A lot of my training sessions always start with communication. Well, not to say a lot of them, all of them start with communication, not just verbally but non-verbally, with eyes. Okay, and with a high five or a shake. All right, handshake. Okay, spotting. This is crucial. Okay, so we spot the athletes all the time. If an athlete comes in, they're new at doing a skill. Okay, or they're uncertain about how a skill works. All right, and we want to keep them safe. We spot them. I know a lot of coaches out there who have injured themselves that don't know how to spot, or they are not putting their whole self in it. Spotting is a skill, okay? And to be able to do it properly, you have to practice it, okay? And that's another area where I work with coaches, okay? As a EMPC a coach, I not only work with the athletes, but I also work with the coaches so they're safe, so they're connecting to their intuition, so they're connecting with their love and their passion of what they're doing, okay? So you can always contact me on cheersportatme.com if you want more information or you want me to come out to your program, okay? And massage and muscle release is the final way that coaches and athletes touch, okay? Sometimes an athlete has tight shoulders, okay? Last week, as a matter of fact, in one of my programs, the athlete said, "Oh, Sanford, my back's been bothering me." And so I gave her a muscle release in her back. And this is something that I learned a long time ago from one of my coaches on how to do this, okay? Because I was going to circus school in Melbourne, and my coach, Gong Wang Lu, okay, he was a Chinese coach, and I was doing this act called the head trapeze, okay? And it's where you stand on your head as your big final finale in your trapeze act. So there was a little donut on the trapeze, and so I did all my tricks, and then I put my head in the donut, and I got upside down on my head and just balanced on my head, okay? And so when I first started that, a lot of people told me that I shouldn't do the act because I was much older than all of the other young kids doing it, and that my muscles were already tight, and my bones were already too solid to do it. But I did it anyway, and I succeeded at it, okay? Just making my point that whatever you put your heart and your mind and soul to, you can do it, okay? But when I started, I used to get tight traps. My shoulders were tight, my back was tight, my neck was tight. So Mr. Liu would show me how to release those muscles, and him just caring and being attentive and showing me those techniques, I felt a lot more powerful and connected to him as a coach. Okay, so I just wanted to make that point. Okay, often athletes will come to me with wrist injuries, okay? And so I have a little systematic physical therapy that I do. Now I want to ask you, is it the physiotherapy that's helping them, or is it the fact that I am listening, I am engaged, I am touching their wrist and responding to them with authentic love and concern? Okay, maybe it's the therapy, maybe it's just the touch and the response. Maybe it's both, okay? So, as a former professional actor and film and television stage person,